Well, hello everybody. Welcome to Upstairs to the Right Music channel. I am Mike McWilliams. Listen, I am trying a new microphone out tonight. If you're in the chat, Ben, I see you're in the chat. Tell me if you can hear me in the chat and let me know that this microphone is working. That would be greatly appreciated. Um, yeah, guys, good to be here. While we wait to see if this microphone is working. Hope it is. As a matter of fact, let me write that in the chat here. Okay, put that in. See if we get a response on that. I hope so. Trying out new equipment here, guys. I am so blessed to be able to invest more into upstairs to the right music, and a wireless microphone is something that I think is long needed. Okay, good. I got confirmation it's working because boy, oh boy, I didn't pay very much for this one. And I hope that it worked. Once I got it, I ordered it. Oh, good. I'm great. I'm happy about that. Sounds good. Yeah. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Good. Well, we'll use this from now on. One thing I was noticing when I was doing these live streams is that when I would go back to listen to them, because I always go back and listen to at least a little bit of it, and the sound was breaking up a little bit, and I attributed that to the microphone in this phone that I'm using. So I said, "Hey, why don't I invest in one of these wireless devices?" Hey, welcome, Mr. Watson in the house, and see how it works. I got this from Alibaba. and, and, hey, Denrose in the house as well. I didn't say hello to you. And it was cheap. It was not very much. And if it works, that's fantastic. So I can use this from now on without any worries. That's fantastic. That's good to know. And this was God honest cheap. Because I had some points, I got it for a grand total of like uh, €5. So I said, well, it's because I had points. Normally it's a lot more than that, but I had enough to make up for most of it. But yeah, it looks pretty okay. And if you guys are saying it sounds okay, I am so pleased. That is awesome. Best $5 I ever spent. Frederick Rogers in the house. Welcome, Mr. Rogers. Welcome to all of you guys. Welcome once again, Upstairs the Right Music channel. Wednesday night live. Doing it live tonight. And I want to thank you for taking the time to spend some time with me tonight. Wherever this finds you in the morning, the afternoon, or the evening, I want to give my salutations to you and welcome you. Whether you watch this now or you're going to watch this in the rerun, either way, I want to let you know I do appreciate you spending your time with me. It is greatly appreciated. Well, you know, uh, tonight, Um, I want to talk about guitars. I mean, actual guitars, not the companies that make them. I want to talk about actual guitars. In the last few live streams, we've been hammering on a couple of deep subjects. And I thought tonight, it would be a good night to, kind of loosen things up a little bit and actually look at some cool guitars and talk about them. And I also have the subject of talking about how you treat your guitars and how to make them last for the long run. One of the things that I admire the most about my Japanese friends and their guitar collections is the way that they really kept it really nice. So there's that. My cat's going to be meowing every now and then, so you guys are going to have to ignore him. It's been interesting seeing the differences between how some of the used gear that I get out of Europe versus some of the used gear that I saw in Japan. Just the difference in upkeep. And my 18 years cumulatively in Japan, I guess I learned. I'm watching the new FX Shogun. I'm old enough to have been around when the original in 1980 came on TV. I actually saw it in real time in 1980, the first version of it. But I'm watching the new version of it. I'm quite impressed with it. It's good to follow along with the Japanese. That's always great to see how good my Japanese is or isn't. And also just that understanding that I picked up a few customs there. Just like Anjin san, I learned about the upkeep and the importance of maintenance of guitars and equipment in general. And tonight I want to talk about that first, while we're waiting for more people to join into the live stream. I have some products here behind me that I've brought out before, but I want to talk about them again. Let me see. Let me go back here on a couple of pages. Here's Matty Two Hats. Good morning. Welcome. Well, in my case, good evening, but morning to you, I guess. Um, I got some products. I know I've talked about these before, but today these products really came in handy. Can he get? Can I get a channel? Nice name. I like that. I own a few. Yeah. Anyway, these products are the ones that I use in order to maintain my guitars, and they're also the products that I use when guitars come in, like they did. I got my first guitar shipment of the year in. I'm going to be sharing them, a little sneak preview. You guys get to see the after unboxing before the unboxing. I did film an unboxing of those, so that'll be coming up. But I thought for you guys tonight, I would share a little bit how these came out and talk about them a little bit as well. So we have guitars to talk about tonight. But first, in terms of maintaining my guitars, I really found that these basic items that can be found at in the case of the turtle wax, you can find these at supermarkets, at least here in Europe. The Meguiar's kit can be found at any hardware store. And pure beeswax is something that you can source. You really, if you have guitars, you need to have some form of pure beeswax, really pure beeswax. If there's a little scent in it, that's okay. That's one of the secrets of Gibson and why they're smelled the way that they do. But you have to have these things in order to keep a good maintenance in terms of the cleanliness of your guitars. Now, you don't need all three of these sometimes. Sometimes you need all three of them. Sometimes you only need one of them. And you'll have to learn them in order to know when you need them. In the case of something like this is the Meguiar's Scratch Eraser Kit. Again, like I said, this can be found at any hardware store, just about anywhere, or order online relatively cheaply. I can't remember if I got this online or at a store, probably online in my case. Um, Ray R says, "What did they do to polish your 1959 Epiphone? What did I do to polish my Epiphone 1959 Epiphone?" Yeah, gotcha. Les Paul, I use this. What I'm talking about right now. Fern did an official. Did not not an official. He did the initial. I guess with coming from Fern being a luthier, it was the official first polish of that guitar. He buffed it out a little bit. He got that matte out. And after that, it was okay. But in order to really get that deep shine that I got and that overall gloss to it, really had to use this right here. I used a great deal of this Carnauba wax. And again, you can get this turtle wax. You can get this at any supermarket. And every day I was spending at least a half hour just buffing that top and back and just buffing and buffing and buffing it. And then maintaining it after I got to the buff that I liked with the beeswax. Man, two hacks, wax on, wax off. That's right. That's right. Ray R looks awesome. Thanks. Yeah. Appreciate it, but we're going to talk about some other Epiphones here in a minute. I have a surprise guest for tonight for you guys. We're going to talk about guitars tonight. Don't want to get into any heavy, deep philosophical discussions tonight. I really want to keep it light and just talk about guitars because they're so cool. But to maintain, it's the beeswax, and you don't need this. A little bit goes a long way. I've had this for quite a while, and it's lasted me, and I use this to maintain the buff afterwards. It's good in the wintertime, gives a nice protective coat to the wood. It helps prevent shrinkage, a lot of things. Don't put it on your fretboard. But there's other things for that. We're going to talk about that too. But why am I talking about all these things? Well, again, I got a guitar shipment in today. I got my first guitar shipment in of the year. And you never know. You never know. Um, really until it's in your hands, the condition of something, especially these two guitars I'm going to show you tonight, talk about, that came from Japan. One of them has never left Japan in his entire life, and the other one was made in Korea, made its way to Japan, and it's now in Europe. So these really pretty much will stayed in Japan. So these are what I would consider to be good examples of basically what you can find in the used guitar market in Japan. However, uh, the cleanliness of one of these was not so great, and that's when these products really come into play. The minute I get it out, unbox it, I go to work with the McGuire's. I can show it to you. It's in here. So you use the compound, and also, if you guys haven't seen this before, it comes with a polishing brush that you attach to your drill, and you just go to town with it. Follow the grain. Be very gentle with it. It takes time. This is not a real quick thing. You got to take your time with it and be patient because you don't want to cause any damage. But sometimes it works miracles. The McGuire, because this is a scratch eraser. So in other words, I've told you guys before, especially when you're dealing with poly guitars, you can pretty much use anything that you put on a car on a poly guitar. And in some cases with the beeswax and maybe the carnauba wax, I would use on nitro. I would not necessarily use the McGuire's on nitro, but like I said, you use a combination. You kind of mix and match depending upon the paint. In this case, we're talking about poly. So anything that you use on a car, you can use on a poly guitar. And there were scratches on both of these guitars that I thought were in the paint. And after buffing them with the McGuire's or the scratch remover here, I was pleasantly surprised to find out that no, they weren't scratches in the paint. Mostly it was just muck that acquired literally over the decades in the case of these two. And buffed them out with the McGuire's. And sometimes poly doesn't take well with beeswax. I will say that, especially in cold weather or in a cold room. If you use the beeswax, you really want to get your room really nice and warm, or do it in the sun. If you got a sunny day, which are far and few between in the Netherlands this time of year. But if you got a sunny day, then you can do that. Today I didn't do the beeswax. I'll follow that up with these. But let's start with the number one guitar I want to talk about. I would like to show you guys this. This is a 1998 Epiphone Les Paul 56 P90. This was made at the Unsung factory in Korea. Take a look at that back. Yeah. And the neck. The P90s, of course. This guitar was made in Korea in 1998. And this is my very first. Thank you, Michael. Michael Watson says, "Wow, beautiful." Thank you. I appreciate it. It is. After again, like I said, I had to go to town with this one. Thank you, Ben. Yeah, it is a beauty. I had to go to town with this one because here in the back, as you can see, there is no scratches. As a matter of fact, if you see anything in there, let me see if I can get my fingerprints out of this. Yeah, if you see anything, it's really just my fingerprint. But I've polished that to a shine. There are no scratches. There's no dents in the back there. There's no scratches. There's no dents in the gold top paintwork. So there is and no problems with the neck. So let's talk about this guitar a little bit. This was the least filthy of the two that came in. um, Again, this was attained from a very small shop in Japan, a mom and pop shop that I came upon perusing the Japanese websites. And the minute I saw it, I said, "Holy crap! That is a Korean unsung 1998 um, P90, 56 P90," and it's been one of those guitars that has been on my to-do list for quite a while now, and I jumped on it and said, "I'll take it." Now, the only flaw, significant flaw, or if you call it significant flaw, it's up to you how you feel about it, is the fact that it did not come with its pickguard. So the pickguard is missing. And also the truss rod cover there, it should say, or the original ones should say Les Paul 56 or 56 Les Paul, something like that. But it didn't have that either. So I, of course, have a parts bin here. So I just dug one out and put it on. And to tell you the truth, I'm digging that a lot more, to be honest with you, just a blank truss rod cover on this thing. Much like the guitar that it's trying to emulate, the 1956 Les Paul. And so there was that. And again, look at that. Look at that gold top. I mean, I don't know if you guys can pick this up in this light, but it is, I love gold tops. I think I've stated that before. But this thing right here is the most beautiful gold top that I've ever seen. And it's a sparkle gold top. I don't know if you guys can pick a little bit of that up. It's a sparkle gold top, but it is just a beautiful gold top color. It is the quintessential gold top color. I guess maybe it didn't start out this way. Again, being a 98, so 26 years old, roughly, guitar here, it's aged, obviously. And maybe that's one of the benefits, but I'm digging this gold top on here. I really am digging it. What else? Where else can we go with this? So here on the back, so you can see there's serial number with the U. That means unsung, and 98 means 1998. The limited edition. I guess this is back then when Epiphone really meant it when they were going to do it. No, actually, they didn't. Actually, I think they were producing these. As a matter of fact, let me take a look here. I had a little bit of information um, on these. Yeah, they were producing these from 1997 to 2005, and then they started it up again. I think in 2009, 2010, they started remaking these again. Now this is from the first batch. The first year was 97. This was a 98. So the second year batch of these guitars, and it's a good representation of it. Those tuners have really aged. Boy, they got to be that kind of key lime green color. They didn't start out that color, but they've certainly got to be there. What else? What can I say about this guitar? Um, I dig it. I'm digging. I'm sorry, you guys. You don't mind my cat meowing himself off. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to let him in. Hold on, because if I don't, he's just going to go on. Let me let him in. All right, you've made your presence known, sir, to the audience. So this guitar really is quite a wonderful example of a P90 guitar. I got to be honest with you. I'm really, really, really digging the P90s in this guitar. They've got a growl to them. A lot of guys describe the P90s in this as being, not the best. I guess again, it depends upon what year, or again whether it was a good day for the winder or not. Were these Monday pickups or were they Friday pickups? If you guys catch my meaning. But in the case of these P90s, these are some of the best sounding P90s. I'm gonna say a lot of good things about these guitars because I have a lot of good things to say about them. These are some of the best sounding P90s I have had the pleasure of owning. Um, yeah, it looks. By the way, a couple of comments. Medi2 had says came up great. Looks brand new. I know. Can you believe that this is a 26-year-old guitar? And again, like I said, this is what I want to show you. Show you guys the sides, so there's no dents. You can see there's no marks, there's no scratches, no dents in the sides. Everything is still there. There's like a crack right there in that knob, but you'd have to really look to see it, and I didn't notice it at first, so not glaringly obvious. But yeah, it looks brand new. And again, like I said, an example of how the Japanese keep their stuff. In terms of weight, I've heard that these early unsung Korean-made Les Pauls could be boats. This is not the heaviest Les Paul that I've owned. Um, I had a Gibson. What was that? The 1993 Les Paul Classic that I had. That one was a boat. I would say I don't know the exact weight on this one. I'm just going to take a guesstimate from my experience and say that this has come in at around 9 pounds, maybe 9.2, around 9.2 pounds. So it's a great, good feeling. Not too heavy, not burdensome, and actually, for some reason, just has a good balance to it as well. The neck, I would describe this neck, a 56 neck, and I've had the pleasure of actually playing a Les Paul 56 in Japan, and that's the one that this is based off of, a Tishigaki. And one of the things that I really liked, oh, now you want to go. Okay. Hey, that's better for me, buddy. Makes me happier. You're out. One of the things that I can say, and I remember that neck, I made it a point to try to remember the neck on that guitar. And I'd have to say that this is not as thick. I would say that neck had a 58. If you know what a 58 neck is, it was very similar to that. This one is somewhere between a 58 and a 59. And I would say that it's extremely, extremely comfortable in that regard. Um, I have to say honestly, probably one of the more chunkier but not chunky necks. I like it. As you know, I like chunkier necks, but it's still comfortable. I think most people who were uninitiated to a chunky neck, this would be a good, like an in-between one, maybe to get them introduced to it. It's got a great neck on it. What else can we talk about? Let's talk about the construction of this guitar because I want to point out something. It's very interesting to me that this was made in Korea in 1998. So these were following up in the history of these things. Of course, Epiphones like of this type were produced in Japan. And then because of cost, it had to move over to Korea. And then again, because of cost, it moved to China. And now it's looking like it may be moving to India. Certainly, there's some that's moved to Indonesia. So there's that. But one of the things about the Japanese models that are renowned is the quality of the woods, the constructions, the way they put them together, versus some of the latter Chinese ones, where you start to see a lot more laminates, a lot more of veneers, that kind of thing. This guitar does not have a veneer on the back. That's the one thing that I found most amazing. I'm looking at it. I'm guessing from it that this is actually a multi-piece back. I would say this is about a 3 or 4 piece back on this. Trying to find the seams on that. However, that's not a veneer. That's a mahogany back, mahogany neck, and I love that. That's one of the things that always kind of turned me off of Epiphones were their veneers, especially on the SG. Some of those SG veneers are so bad because you can clearly see where the veneer starts in the curvature ends. And the fact that this guitar was made multi 4 piece mahogany back, probably the maple cap on this is multi pieces as well, but it's got a maple cap. The neck is not a 1 piece neck. You can see a scarf joint. I don't know if you guys can see it. You can very clearly see the scarf joint here where they joined it on, but that's typical for construction at this, at that time for this kind of thing. I'm very interested to pick up to take out this neck pickup and see what the tenon length is on this guitar. That would be a very interesting thing to see. I will probably get to that when I did the polish job, as you guys know. So I did my polish work on it. I need to do the fretboard. So when I take the strings off to do the fretboard, I might take a look underneath this P90 here. Can I get a channel? Says most Les Pauls are heavy. That's why they sound so good. Well, that's been a moving target. I'm old enough. I don't, to say that there have been times when it's been said that a lighter Les Paul is better. There have been times when it's said that a heavier one is better. What I think is better, and one of the points that I want to make about these Korean epis versus Chinese epis versus Japanese epis is, again, it's the individual guitar. It's the sum of the parts. You may look out and get a Monday body, a Monday neck, Monday pickups. In other words, the guys on Monday, they were sharp off the weekend, they were ready to go to work, and they were doing a good job. A Friday is the one you don't want. You don't want Friday neck, Friday body, Friday pickups, because that means that those guys are, looking at the clock and they may do 1 or 2 more winds. You may end up with a guitar that is the sum of its parts are all Monday parts. You may end up with one that's all Friday parts. It's a luck of the draw, and weight and point of origin and all those things are really irrelevant, because you can find great examples of Epiphones guitars in all the countries that I just mentioned. So there is that. Phil Rodriguez in the house. Welcome, Mr. Rodriguez. Just talking about Korean epis. The closer that you get to today, the more you see how the Chinese Epiphones are excellent. As a matter of fact, they're getting up there to, as best as they can, considering Gibson territory in terms of their construction. So again, it has its peaks and its valleys, and you have to judge each one individually. So there is that. So, can I get a channel? Says I have an old beat up Yamaha guitar, and would you look at it and not think much of it? You'd look at it and not think much of it, but then you pick it up and play it. Mind blown. Yes, sir. Many offers. Yeah. You don't, if you get a good one, you don't give away your good one, beater or not. Hell, Stevie Ray Vaughan's guitar was a beater. If you've ever seen pictures of it, and I dare say that that Trigger is the most beater guitar there is. Willie Nelson's acoustic, you know. So again, it's individual. It's not really country of origin. And that is now that I've played a Korean-made Epiphone and had one in my hands, how would I rate it of all the ones that I've had and touched and played and owned? Um, it's excellent, guys. It's excellent. It really, truly is. It's phenomenal. This one, I don't know about anybody else's. I don't know about anything, but I am digging the sound of these P90s. I wouldn't change a thing about this guitar. I wouldn't change a thing. I wouldn't touch a thing. Um, I was thinking, well, I better order a pick guard for it, but I've changed my mind about that because, quite frankly, if I did, the next person who got it would take the pick guard off anyway. Because look at that top. I mean, really. Um, Ben Allmark. Yep, good ones come in every price range. That's correct. Can I get a channel? Every one of them is different. That's the beauty of it. Yes, sir. I fully agree. Criminal for life. What's going on, cuz? Tapping in from Chicago. Hey, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad that you made it. We're just talking about Korean-made Epiphones. But look at that, guys. That's a multi-piece back, but it's not a veneer. In other words, this is what they were offering as a premium with the 1959. They were saying, hey, we've got the back and it's no veneer. At first they said it was a two-piece back, which mine was because I got one of the early ones. And then it became multi-piece backs. They started changing the tuners. A lot of things started changing. And then some of the maple tops started. It started out really great, and then the quality really got iffy. Phil Rodriguez, I had Korean made Lucille, amazing guitar. Pickups were the weak link, otherwise awesome. Were they P90 pickups? I'm curious, Phil. Let me know. I like these. That's the thing that I heard about these Korean pickups, that they're weak. But boy, oh boy, man, I plugged this into the Laney with the 72 greenback. Just set it for where I normally have it in terms of value, and crank this up, and it just roared. It had that roar of all my Gibson P90s that I've had, gold tops. I rate this, you know pretty doggone close. Again, there's always that 5% that makes a difference, but I could live with that 5% difference. I would rate it like that. Really nice back. Yeah. It's beautiful. I like the color. Yes. No, it was the BB King Lucille. Okay, got you. Got you. Yeah. So enough about this one. Well, I can't say enough. So I will be doing a full review. So I just want to give a little preview of this one to you guys. Because you're here taking the time to be in on the live stream, and I want to give you a little bit of eye candy for your time and show you my appreciation by sharing this with you a little bit early. But yeah, I mean, clean as a whistle, guys. Clean as a whistle. That's a clean guitar for 26 years old. Just clean. Like I said, I'm not even mad about them taking the truss rod cover that said 56 Les Paul, because I would have swapped out for a plain cover anyway, like the original. So now it's really got that, that original OG vibe to it, and I wouldn't change a thing about it. So for my first Korean Epiphone, I have to say that I'm impressed. I wouldn't change a thing. It made me fall in love with P90s again. I have this love hate thing for them. Sometimes because I use P90s. Shameless plug here, but if you have listened to the Asanoki Ants in the Pantry album, and you listen to the guitar solo on Belly Dancer, that's a P90 Les Paul playing the guitars, the solo on that one. And this one, I played the same solo. I brought the track up and I played along with it, and it matched the tone exactly. As a matter of fact, I should use that for the video just to show how I played the solo the way with the Gibson P90, and then with this one, and you know, and so and I think that was an awesome tone that I got out of that solo. So yeah, yeah, there's that. Most of my guitars are Roddenberry. Yeah, yeah. So next up is a Yamaha. I have a Yamaha. I said tonight let's talk about Yamaha guitars. So that was enough of a warm up. We warmed up with Epiphones. Now on to the main course. Yamaha guitars. Um, well, let me just bring it on. Let's just talk about it. Let's just show it. So this, guys, is a 1978 Yamaha Super Axe SA 700. So you can check that out. Take a look again. You can see no scratches, no dents, no major scratches, no scratches, no major dents in this whatsoever. Fretboard's great, no neck breaks, no issues with this whatsoever. The worst thing on this one is a little bit of a dent that's been taken out there. But let's consider the fact that this is a 46-year-old guitar. This is a 1978 Yamaha SA700 Super Axe. And this was their answer to Gibson's 335. And of course, being Yamaha being what they were, they decided to go all in on it. And let's talk about that a little bit. Proud Rainbow, you were streaming on BitChute. You look good, by the way. Thank you so much. No, I don't do BitChute. I'm sticking here to YouTube, but if so convinced, I might do so. So you guys let me know what you think, if that's something I should be doing. Appreciate always getting a heads up on what I should be doing as opposed to what I shouldn't be doing. So yeah, a 1970 46-year-old guitar. So for 46-year-old guitar, the fact that there's no joint cracks, there's no issues, separation anywhere on this guitar. The fact that the worst thing that happened is it got a little bit of a ding right here. But there are ways to actually repair that. One thing that you can do is you can use a wood filler there to fill that in. You would then have to shape it again so that it's mostly there. The point's there, so you got a little bit of a guide. Again, shape it so that it looks similar to that side. Sand it down, and then you would take some black fingernail polish and go over that part that's scraped so that it's equally painted there. And then, of course, you would have to sand that down, file that down, and then follow up with a polish. And that would solve that issue. It would not look 100%, but it would look, to the casual eye, like a little bit less of a ding. Well, a lot less of a ding. It would look okay. However, I kind of like it. I think that it adds character to it. I think sometimes you need to let some stuff alone. So I don't think I'm going to do that to that. I think I'm going to keep that as it is because, again, as I said, the rest of the body is absolutely flawless. Here's again, I'll show you guys the sides, bottom, and so you can see there's no scratches, no dings, no nothing. 46 years old. So you can see the fretboard. The frets are in great condition. No need for a fret job on this thing. Both guitars, no need for a fret job on these. I suspect that these might have been case queens, possibly, for the most part. Not heavily played because they don't show signs of heavy playing. So this is another one. So I polished up today, so you can see what a polished up. This thing was filthy, guys. When I say filthy, I lived a couple of blocks down from the red light district, and that place made this look clean. It had developed decades of a grime, I guess, a silt or something all over it. So it was just dull. I was like, why is that guitar so dull? Was it out in the sun? What was it that made it so dull? Let me start working on it. And I started working on it. And this is one of those situations where water is not your friend. You think, well, let's just use a little wet, damp cloth and do that first to get that. No, 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 no. Because water in a guitar like this can do more harm than good. You don't want to do that. No, you've got to, again, get into your buffing agents and go through it. And because I can't use that device that I showed you in these horns, that has to be done by hand. Just getting in there, buffing in, polishing out, removing it out, and going through that. So this is the first iteration. It's going to probably need another buffing, but I got it to this point today where I cleaned it up. Trust me, it did not look anything like this when it came in. With that said, what can I say about this 46-year-old guitar? Again, let's see. Criminal for Life. I found some nice Yamaha tools on eBay. Yep. Michael Watson. That definitely looks like a ripe Missouri persimmon. Love it. Yep. Criminal for Life. You do giveaways for the people who follow you. Yeah, I do actually. I have a giveaway coming up here where I'm going to be giving away a set of these earplugs that I promoted in my last video. Go on to my regular channel and take a look at that and learn a little bit about these. And I'll be giving a set of these away coming up, by the way. So thank you for asking. Getting back to the Yamaha, this is another example. It was grimy, and it took me the better part of 2 hours to clean this. And this is, yet again, I haven't even got to the fretboard yet. I'm gonna have to take the strings off and do that. But I wanted to get the body, as much of it as I could. Um, yeah. These headphones. Please take a look at my video on my regular channel talking about the Experience headphones here. Made by Loop is the name of the company, and check it out. Yeah, I will be giving a set of these away. And I really dig the fact that although it's probably a case queen, it's certainly, again, a good example of them keeping it well. It doesn't have broken neck. Electronics work great on this. Again, I didn't mention on the Epiphone, the electronics on that are no problem. They work great. No, nothing. And this is a 46-year-old guitar, and again, the electronics on this work fine. Let's give a couple of stats on this. So this is a bound beech and beech trans poly finish on this. So this is bound beech and birch with a poly finish on it. The neck is set mahogany. It's called a chunky C shape. And yes, yeah, that's a chunky neck. Again, if you feel it makes that Epiphone 56 feel not as chunky, and that's a chunky neck. Now this is a beef. Actually, I wouldn't say chunky. This is a beefy neck. It gets really beefy, especially down here at 12 frets. It gets super beefy, and I love it. It's really something. And if you like beefy necks, man, 70s Yamahas are the way to go. What else do we have here? The fretboard is rosewood with a 12-inch radius, 22 frets. The headstock is a black Yamaha and caps, Super Axe and gold script, black on white truss rod cover with SA 700 written on it. So, as it's stated, that is what is so. Interesting, the tuners are Yamaha tuners. These are tulip tuners. They have stood the test of time. Yeah, they are Yamaha tuners. It's going to take me a while. With these kind of guitars, your biggest problem I've always found is slippage, tunage slippage, or intonation issues, and it always has to do with the tuners. So we shall see. It's keeping in tune pretty good so far. So far so good with that. Um, there was a comment there. You got them gold fingers. Freestyle something, bro. Let me get through talking about this. So um, these pickups. So these pickups are Alnico 3 pickups. And by the way, this guitar doesn't have any coil splitting, so none of that push-pull pot kind of thing. These are Alnico 3 pickups. And these are some of the, I like Alnico 3 pickups. Again, I had these pickups made in Croatia. Those are Dry Z, another Japanese pickup copies. And those are Alnico 3. These are also Alnico 3 pickups. So I'm very familiar with the tone. These are the sweetest sounding Alnico 3 pickups I've ever had. I keep gushing about these two guitars, but I have to tell you, I choose wisely, young Padawan. And of course, for my business purposes, I always want to pick the best and the things that I would dig, and I know that other people would dig. And I have to tell you, these are the sweetest sounding Alnico. And when you want to crank it, I cranked it through the Laney. I also ran it through the Fender with the Jensen speaker, and it does clean and it does crank very well. You can get your classic. If you want to go, full on cat scratch fever, this is your guitar. You can get it, into that Nugent, tone with this thing. And you can also go back in time with this thing and get a little bit of that 50s twang out of it as well, like Chuck Berry. So a fantastic sounding guitar from that. This one weighs in at 8 pounds. I know the weight of this one. This is an 8 pound guitar. So it's actually about a pound lighter than the Epiphone, but which is an amazing thing because this takes up a lot more territory than that one does. But this weighs at 8 pounds. Now this guitar came in two colors. It came in this and a natural. Um, I have to say that if you're going to go for a 335, natural is great, but really, this is the color. This is the way you want to go if you're going to go for one of these. And at the time of, so this was made between 1977 and 1983. Again, like I said, this is according to the stamp there on the back is a 1978. So this would be the second year of production on this one. Um, that's interesting. It's the same case with the Epiphone over here. That started in 1997, and I have a 98. What a quinky dink. Yeah, so this started in 77, went from 77 to 83. And at that time, it was going for Nanama yen. Nanama yen right now is about 480 some odd euros, I suppose, there and about. So, yeah, yeah. This was not the top of the line with these Yamahas. There are preceding lines that go up from here. Uh, I'd like to talk about that a little bit if I can pull up this information easily. Let's see. Here we go. Let's talk about the next one in line from this, which is the SA 800. So the SA 800, again, had the same beech and birch back, but its top was alder. So as you got up into the Hachima yen, so there's 100 yen, 10,000 yen difference between the two of these two models. You got an outer block with a spruce filling, so a little bit of a step up. Again, these were made in Taiwan, um, so a little bit difference there in terms also with the pickups as well. But just to give you a feeling that these appeared in Taiwan in '81. So there was a little bit of going on there in terms of them being produced in Taiwan and also being produced in Korea. But the next step up, the 800, was produced in Taiwan, and a little bit better of a guitar. Let's step up. Let's jump up because there's a few levels here. There's the 900, the 950, the SA 1000, the SA 1100, and let's talk about the one that is probably the most desirable if you can get your hands on it. Here we go. Hold on, guys. This is a very maddening. There we go. Now the SA, the Super Axe 1200. So this would mean that this would come in at Ju Nima Yen. So quite a bit of difference there between the two of those. About 50,000 yen difference there. So that's a lot. That's a big difference in price. But they are quite desirable because they were produced from 1979 to 1983. So they were introduced actually after this model. This was the first one they came out with, the 700. And they did so with these. They said, hey, you know what? Let's bump up the ante a little bit and start doing a little bit better progressive ones. Some, as I point out, were done in Taiwan. Some were done in Japan. So there is that to keep in mind. The 800 series and the 900 were done in Taiwan. The 700 like this one, and the 1200 up, these were done in Japan. Now, again, you got a solid spruce top, a beach black, the sides were outer, and it had a spruce block poly finish. Again, these are all poly guitars, but you can see the woods have jumped up in terms of the quality in which you get. Ebony dot inlays, a mahogany bound C-shaped neck. Again, same tuners, no difference there. But that model actually came with Alnico 2 pickups in it. Alnico 2 pickups in it. And some of the things that you'll find in terms of the quality of pickups, especially as you go up, they may not say it, but there are levels when it comes to pickups as well. So this would be considered, actually, in that regard, probably at that time, this was their pretty considerably nice mid-tier pickups, but they had some really nice ones. That's when you start getting into, for example, the Maxon Super 70s and stuff like that, or the Dry Z's, for example. That would be considered be just a top quality pickup. So probably in the 1200, better Alnico 2, different magnets, and probably a much, much, much better um, quality pickup there. Lincoln just got on. Semi-hollow or hollow body? Semi-hollow. Yeah, there is that. What else? Pickups we've covered. Electronics. Again, a 46-year-old guitar, and and it's a pain in the ass to wire these things anyway, so I wouldn't want to, frankly speaking. But there's no need to do anything as far as that's concerned. And so the 1200, like I said, as you can see, is one, and it goes up from there. There's actually a little bit higher than the 1200, but the 1200, and then actually the really cool one, if you can find them, and you can, because again, the higher up you go with these, the less production models you'll actually find. The higher up as you get into the 1800 and then the 2000, they only made a few of these. And once somebody gets one, they very rarely let it go. For example, the top of the line was the SA 2000, 700, 800, 900, 1200, 1800, 2000. So what do you get at the very top of this line? This was going for Ju Goma Yen. That's a lot of money. Even today, you're still looking at 1,000 plus euros for this guitar. And this was back in 1977. It was produced between 77 and 82. A lot of different colors on it, but you again got a arch bound beech and birch body with maple and with a maple top and a spruce block. Excuse me, guys. A lot of things there. Um, Al Nickel One pickups, described as A1 in the archives. It says here, and all the hardware was gold. It was a gold hardware guitar as opposed to this one being chrome. A lot of good colors on this one. Just a gorgeous guitar. The natural is just a beauty. I wish you guys could see these pictures. It actually had a very intricate Yamaha inlay here instead of this. It had a very nice intricate Yamaha inlay. But in any case, regardless of which of these series that you get, you're getting top quality Japanese made handmade guitars at that time in their factories. And again, for 46 years old, you can see that this one has really stood the test of time. Absolutely no questions about it. So I will get into them in a little bit of detail on my regular show. I will do sound demos of them playing through the Laney with the 72 greenback and also through the Fender with that Jensen speaker. You know, I'm breaking that Jensen speaker in. You know, breaking a speaker in is a real thing. In the case of the 72 greenback, that thing was broke in when I was a kid. So I didn't have to worry about that. But this Jensen is a new old stock and 15-year-old new old stock on that one. So it needs breaking in. But I've enjoyed the process. You can't hurry that. You got to play you and your style because you're breaking that speaker in to adjust to you. It's cool to have a new speaker because you can. It is even cooler to have a new old stock one that you can adjust to you. And playing these two guitars through that is quite a pleasure. I have to say the Yamaha shines better through a Fender amp. However, I was able to get some nice tones from the P90s through the Fender amp, the Champ 40 I have with the adjusted speaker I put in. Just great tones, just great guitars, guys, and they are for sale. So there is that. You can always reach out to me if you're interested. The Yamaha I plan on taking to Vinendal with me. I have plans for that one. That one I'm taking to the Vintage Guitar Show coming up here on the 21st. And so that's why it's going to get the best cleaning it's ever had in its 46 years. So it looks nice and shiny and perfect for that show. It needs to be because it will be among some really cool stuff. And I want it to be one of those cool things. And we'll see what happens with that. This Epiphone, I'm in love with it. You know, I've been playing these Fenders here for the last seems like 6 months or so now. I've really been hand building these Fender Partcasters. I'm sorry, these Squier Partcasters. And so I've been playing Strats, you know, Strat. When I reach for guitars, it's Strat every day. To have that drought of Les Paul and to have this, you know, to hold this guitar and have it in my lap and to play it, I forgot how much of a pleasure it is. It's actually a play. I guess I learned to love Les Paul somehow because I found myself that I said, geez, I actually miss this too, just the feel of it, you know. And this one is a pleasure to play. Like I said, you know, any problems or issues that this one may have had, if it ever had, those were worked out a long time ago. And I'm in love with it. I have to be honest with you. This is gonna, you know, I hate it. When you deal guitars, you know, you fall. Excuse me, guys. Bit of a hiccup there. Sorry. When you get buy guitars, you kind of fall in love with them. Some of them. And this gold top is since I love gold tops, and you'd be hard pressed to find anything close to this one these days, to be frank, especially with that non-laminated back. That's a big plus to me. Um, it's always a turn off for me, but this one doesn't have it. It's got multi-piece, but a non-veneered back. That's awesome. Looks good. Looks the part. So I don't know what's going to happen with that one. I have a few more coming up here on the way. I have a bass guitar. I have a Fender Japan bass guitar on its way, guys, that I'll be sharing with you in a few weeks here coming up. And also the Epiphone Standard 60s that I purchased. Again, I'd like to see how that balances up against that 59 that I got. I have to tell you, this is not a humbucker guitar, it's P90, but in terms of stacking this up against that 59, they're equitable. I would tell you it would be a matter of whether or not you wanted a humbucker guitar or a P90 guitar. This and then the 59 are equitable, at least the one that I had. So there's that as well. But anyway, there's that, guys. What do we got here? Phil Rodriguez and divorce others. Yeah, yeah. Fall in love and then you divorce some. That's right. That's a good way of looking at it. But much like the dealer, one does not get hooked on one stash. So you just have to let them go. You enjoy them. You say it's a pleasure. It's actually a kind of it's an honor actually to be able to have these. In some cases, reform them, get them back so they can go off and have another life. But the pleasure of being able to experience them and to share them with you guys is fantastic. Um, Eventually, if you do this enough, you run through a lot, of different guitars, and your opinion gets to be a little bit more informed, and people begin to say, "Hey, maybe I should listen to what he or she has to say about that subject because I've seen that, they got a little bit of it." So it's a pleasure all the way from an educational and financial and personal standpoint. It's a pleasure, guys. All right. If that is enough for you guys, it is enough for me. I wanted to talk about guitars tonight, and I think we talked about some awesome ones here. Again, I will film individual videos reviewing both of these in great detail. Believe me, I'd be a fool if I didn't. And so that'll be coming up. Uh, yeah. If you haven't checked out the video that I just did on amps, check that out. Again, I alluded to my previous Les Paul Gold Top P90, where I did the guitar solo on the Belly Dancer off the Asanoki Ants in the Pantry album. That album can be found on Bandcamp. So if you want to check out the music that comes out of Upstairs to the Right Music channel, the music part of this, you want to check out the music that I produce here, please go to Bandcamp, type in Asanoki, and buy either the Asanoki 1 or the Asanoki Ants in the Pantry album, or buy them both. Or just buy a single, but either way, the operative word there is support this channel by purchasing something. I don't ask for donations. I don't ask for super chats. I don't have any of that stuff. I don't have PayPal or any of that stuff. I merely ask for you to go to Bandcamp. And if you're new here, take a listen to those two albums. I know you'll find something you like on them, certainly. Michael Watson, thanks for sharing those. Hey, man, thanks for taking the time to take a look. I appreciate you viewing. So there is that, guys. I'm wore out. I've had a long day. I unboxed. I got these in. I let them sit for 6 hours. I said, again, it was a warm day, a warm room, so 6 hours was sufficient, and there's no issues there. So that was okay. And then I had to do the setups and the cleaning, and then I had all my other work that I had to do. I've been nonstop since Well, it's been a long day. We're getting into the 15-hour day here, so I think I'm gonna call it quits. Rick Nelson, I fell in love with my 59 and then I got my Les Paul Special P90s. Now I love them both. Yeah, again, it really comes, isn't that right? That's what I'm saying. It really comes down in the case of this guitar, that in this case that I know of, this 56 P90 or the 1959. Both of them are limited edition. Interestingly enough, as I was kind of alluding to earlier, this one's got that limited edition stamp on it. Boy, I wish they had kept their word with the 59 like they did with this one. Well, even in this case, like I said, they did really, but not as bad as 59. But either way, they're both limited edition guitars. It really comes down to, so their build is just a little bit that much better. It really just comes down to whether you prefer a P90 or a humbucker. You know, I'm kind of digging these P90s, and that's the other thing about it. I really like these P90s in this guitar. These are really growly. It's got that sound that I'm looking for. So anyway, yeah, dig that, man. It's really just a choice of which one you want in this case. If you had an opportunity to get one or the other, I'd try to get them both. If you could. Tommy Max in the house, late to the party. I'll have to watch the replay. Thanks, Mike. I love those P90s. Yeah, yeah. This guitar is awesome. Now, before my cat has a heart attack because he wants his snack, I'm gonna go give him his snack so he'll shut up. And then I'm going to put myself to bed. And I'm really pleased that this mic is working. I hope that the audio was better tonight. I will check it on the rerun and see how it was. I think it was. We'll stick with this from now on. Again, stuff like this, comes about because I'm investing everything that comes in. If you spend $7 on an Asanoki album purchase, that $7 goes into buying stuff for the channel. That's really how it works. I wanted to build a channel up that was self-supporting through me working hard and you guys supporting that hard work, and it's paying off. So I want to say thank you. Ben Allmark, thanks, Mike. Great stream. Yeah, thanks to you guys. Cheers to you guys. See you on Sunday. Until then, you guys keep safe. God bless. Good night.